if you do have one of those type of men in your life that's willing to be a male role model in that young man's life, allow for him to toughen him up. If he got to hit him in his chest or whatever, don't baby him afterwards. Let him deal with that. But again, we got to step away from trying to coddle the children, the young boys, because that's your baby. You know what I'm saying? I get that's your baby, but your baby is gonna stay a baby until you check out of this motherfucker, and you're not gonna be proud of that.
I think that's the importance of the male and feminine energy, or the masculine and feminine energy, right? Like, it's natural and innate in us to nurture our children. Like, we see our children crying, we're going to pull them in. Like, we are built as women to be the nurturers, which is why it's so important for us to have that balance of having a male and female in the home. And when you don't have both, or have an outlet, like you said, Biz, where you can get that energy from somewhere else, there's going to be an imbalance and we're going to have an issue, because no matter how hard I feel that women try, we still cannot replace a man, and vice versa.
I'm
I
glad you
mean,
said
I
that, because being
nurturing
raised
of
in this.
encouragement, nurturing of encouragement, and not nurturing of coddling. You know, there's one thing to coddle; it's another thing to just nurture encouragement,
So
right?
Lewis, or Louis, I'm sorry, I'm saying if I'm saying your name
Luis,
wrong.
yeah, that's cool.
Luis. I hate when people say my name wrong, so I apologize. But I was going to say, I understand what you're saying, but you're not a woman, right? So it's really easy for you to say how we should nurture and what nurturing should look like coming from a woman. But just like you guys would correct us when we try to speak about masculinity, right? Let's be honest, no matter how many different ways we try to morph it and change it, we cannot speak on masculinity because we are not men. So just as we should allow a man to, like Via says, punch our son in the chest and be like, okay, you also have to understand that if afterwards I run in his room and give him a quick hug, that's just in my nature. It's just what a woman is going to do. We want to protect our children. Once again, why the balance is necessary.
And that's what I was wanted to kind of speak on. I'm glad you brought that up, about why it's both necessary. Because when they was talking about, oh, he said some men don't know how to change tires and do all this stuff, and I'm like, and people wonder why I'm so emotional. It's like, I was raised by a single mom, and she was more coddling to my brother, but she was more stern on me because, one, she didn't have nobody. She had to play a masculine role, so she didn't have time for her own feelings. So every time I came in trying to be the little girl and be that damn mom, I'm right. What's all that whining for? Tough it up. I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? So then that creates women who's too independent, who comes off too emotional, too, because I never understood how to be. I never understood, because she shut off all her femininity. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you spoke on that, because it definitely, the same way it can affect a man by not having that masculinity in the household, just being by coddle too much, it affects women too, because that woman has to be in her masculine almost all the time to go to work, to go get the things that needs to get done. I was just talking to one of my ex co-workers, and she's older, like 50, 55. And she was like, I'm just not getting it about my boys. Why they live with their daddy. They daddy in the household. Why aren't they working like them? I said, well, every time they problem solve, you come downstairs. But the dad's not coming downstairs. And I know you want to help your boys, but when you come, you're coming from a place of emotion. What's going on? Da 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 da. In my head, because I was raised by masculine women, hearing the arguments, I'm like, why is you worried about that as a man? And even the daddy would be like, yeah, that don't even make sense. But when she's going downstairs, the way she handles it is more on like an emotional level. And then when a man do it, it just be different. So I'm glad you spoke on that, because I think that's what caused the disconnect and why people aren't getting married in today's society. Single mothers are raising hard ass women and creating soft ass men.
How does a mother play a masculine role?
She's not being emotional. She's not being nurturing. She's constantly paying the bills. My mother raised 3 kids for a long time by herself. She dated men that was younger than her, so she tended to make more money than them. And my mom was raised in a 2-parent household, so that's why this kind of like. And my grandmother is very, very nurturing. My granddad provider, even after him and my grandmother got divorced, he always paid the bills, always made sure everything was taken care of. So when my mom was raising me, I didn't get that. Okay, baby, like for me with my daughter tries to be like me because that first 2 years my mom was kind of like helping me with her. But I noticed while I was depressed, she was kind of dealing with my daughter most of the time when she was crying and stuff. And even that too, my mom was like, I just put your daughter in a room. I'm like, why? She was like, because she won't go to sleep. I'm like, she's 2. So you're gonna lock her in a dark room? Like just imagine, I'm just thinking about why I'm the way I am. You know what I'm saying? She didn't nurture me because in her head she didn't have time to. I gotta go to work. I can't deal with these tears. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with that. She's not telling me breathe. Like when it comes to my daughter now, the advice I give my daughter is like breathe, count to 10. What are you feeling? I don't know. You know, you just gotta breathe. Take your time, cry. You got it? Cool. Now I need you to speak. Now I need you to tell me what's wrong because I can't help you if you can't articulate what's wrong versus shut all that crying up. I don't want to hear that shit. It's
That
two different.
that's not masculine though.
But it's masculine when it's a way that women push out masculinity. Like to it's like a
That
sternness. It's like to me, like for instance, I feel like women teach the kids what to care about and the men teach the kids what not to care about. Like this ain't important. We need to focus on this. And when men do it, they don't do it like women do it. They're more logical. Like when my daddy do it, he not like, what's all that crying for? You need to cut that shit out. My daddy, because he's a masculine man performing masculinity, he's like, so let's talk this out. What's going on in your head? When I did used to talk to him when he was sober, because I've had a few conversations with him when he's sober. And when he's sober, he's the like I see what a man's supposed to be. And I wish I had that because my mom, I don't know if that's how she felt when her dad used to discipline her. I don't know if that's how she viewed masculinity, but the energy that was coming from her was masculine. And I didn't say it was a positive masculinity, but it wasn't nurturing. I know that for sure. I know that she always wanted me to not cry. And it's like she almost built me like how some men say, my mom didn't let me cry. She didn't let me do this. I felt like that. I felt like that was my story. I couldn't cry. I couldn't be soft. I couldn't come in the house and be like, Ma, these girls they trying to fight me. You gonna whoop their ass or I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like it wasn't a lot of nurturing done in my household. And I feel like it's not because she didn't want to, but she really didn't have the time to as a single mother. She had other shit to worry about. What I was crying about, them emotions, she couldn't worry about that because she had to pay the bills. She couldn't focus on it. I don't got time for that shit. You the oldest too. I was the oldest too, so I'm the help. I'm doing the stuff that my daddy and them supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm doing the shit she's supposed to be doing. My
well
sister,
that
and okay,
that
my little sister used to tell me, damn it, I came to you because you the one I knew I could go to. I knew you could listen. She still comes to me to this day because she feel like my mom is not.
Mhm.
You feel me? Like she like, nah, mommy gonna tweak. I need something. I need to learn how to deal with this because I know I'm finna tweak. You know I'm a spaz, but I
but
know you
guys,
gonna say it
guys,
in a way that's yeah.